Hey guys, it's me again, Ruowen Huang. You always come to this time that I'm always on the borderline, want to talk myself out of it. Especially in the morning, I listen to so much noise, right? And now all your head can hear is, all those construction sound. Anyway, today I thought we'd talk about something casual. Well, casual. But before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today I want to discuss about finding balance. You will later on realize I probably talk about this a lot, and reason talk about it a lot, as I say, I test out so many things in my life. It come to this point, I find out finding balance is pretty much the only thing you kind of have to work on. Then I'll give you a tip how to work on this anyway. So the reason I want to talk about it is early this week, I was having a party with friends, right? And then friends' daughter was dealing with some kind of bully, but not quite. Anyway, at school, my friend talked to me about that issue. So basically what it is this girl was kind of good friend with a neighbor, right? So the neighbor's kids is all nice and very friendly, but somehow whenever she's at school, she tend to say something really mean, like you are ugly, or continuously make this friend's daughter feeling bad about herself, right? So, sure enough, parents would try to recommend in so many ways. Don't have to be friend with the girl. Don't have to do that. But somehow the girl is continue being friend with her. So sure enough, through the party, I have a talk with this girl. I say So I heard about this situation. Is it true? And the girl said yes. I said, well, so this person only be mean to you at school? The girl said yes. So I asked, so why do you still decide to be friend with her, right? And then she couldn't quite answer why. So at that point, it's kind of brought me back to when I was a kid, because this kid also has some psychic ability, right? And she probably lived through longest time feeling like she's different from someone else. So somehow through her reaction, I see a part of me, like how when I was a kid, I was trying so hard to fit into a society that I'm willing to accommodate myself. I'm willing to be bullied by people because we somehow, some way believe that's a way we can blend into a society, whether we know we belong or no. You know what I mean? It's kind of as a child who we think that's the only thing we know, and we're trying so hard to please people, and we're trying so hard to blend in. Therefore, we allow people to abuse us, mentally or physically, right? So not knowing, by allowing them to do that, what we're doing is we're demonstrating to other people, like other than this specific one, we're demonstrating to them how they can treat us as well. You know what I mean? So if we demonstrate it to this particular one person and say, yes, you can be bullied to me, what we are really doing to say to the public basically is, yes, you other people can also bully me, right? And we all know it's not true. So anyway, through the conversation, I tried to let this girl know, people only judge or say mean thing to you because that is their deepest fear in them. You know what I mean? So for the kids, sometimes they try to blend into other group or something like that. They feel like by saying something at school, they try to impress somebody. That's what I try to say. They try to impress somebody. Therefore, they might say things that they really don't mean that, right? And also, you have to understand when someone who call you ugly, the chances they are worried people might call them ugly, because that's how the society works. We only use our perception to judge other people, right? So when we use the word to hurt someone, that usually that word is what we fear the most. So that's why the girl will use that word to say to hurt you. So through coaching, I tell the girl, basically say, would you say that to other people? She said, no. I said, why won't you? She said, well, because I would make others feel hurt. I said, exactly. So when you meet someone who is like this, intentionally hurt you, why would you still be with them, right? So I'm not here to tell you have to totally cut the friendship, but you could also do this. Since this girl had two standards, she's totally nice outside school and totally mean in the school, you can say this to her. Well, I don't accept this behavior. As long as you want to demonstrate this behavior, please don't be my friend. But if you are aware of it and you're willing to correct it, then I will welcome you into my life at any time. You know what I mean? So at the end, we leave it aside because kids can only have very simple instruction to work with. But because of this incident, a lot of things I start to think about a lot of things, right? Like there's this blogger talk about, longest time they have this means always using very criticized word to him, and then he feel self-esteem's pretty low, he gets struggle, he continue thinking this is a task, right? Because a friend tell him, well, your task is to learn to find peace within my criticism, right? And that brought me back to my own self-reflection. I'm not going to lie too. I sometimes joke about things to my kids, right? Saying, well, I'm being mean to you because in the future you will realize how nice this society is, right? I too say something like that sometimes. But it's not through this whole journey of psychic journey, I start to slowly discover when we sometimes believe, especially me coming from Asian culture, right? I cannot really speak for Western culture, no matter how long I live here, but I can speak where I got brought up. Where I come from, people tell you to suppress a lot. I mean, when you're dealing with difficulty and then the life issue or people being mean to you, what I usually tell you to do is, either take it in, ignore it, right? But we don't speak up and fight back. So in my generation, younger generations probably do a better job than I did. But in my generation, we tend to take in, endure that pain, and then believing the so-called overcome our task is we can live together with this pain, right? So I would say people in my generation, we have hard time to say no to people. We have hard time to reject people, right? So when we're living in a difficult situation like this, like people who is bullying to us, or people who is being harsh to us, or people who step over us, our instinct, our right away response to that is how can we live together with this? How can we find a way to live together with this, right? It's not very often it come to our minds that maybe we should kick this person out of our life. You know what I mean? That's why people in my generation, when we're looking at, those Westerner able to just say no to people, we are very fascinated by it. That's how culture usually have that, like shock, like, oh my goodness, how can you guys just do that, right? So what I'm saying is, because of that kind of attitude, so what happened is, even though when we grow into adulthood, we will often run into people who continuously bring down our life. I'm pretty sure many of you have that kind of people too. Like, they will continue to bring you down your life. Like, your level might be here, but they have negative thinking, they have negative behavior, or they have negative, like they either mentally abuse you or physically abuse you or whatever abuse you. We tend to let them drag down our life. But instead of draw a boundary and tell them to, step out of this, we tend to look within ourselves and think, what's wrong with me, right? There must be something wrong with me. There must be, something I need to work with, right? We do think they might have some problem, but we have to work within our problem, then they won't become a problem. So what I'm saying is, coming from this kind of background, this is where I come from, right? So it's not until in this psychic journey, I also exercise that way of thinking. And then I realized nothing really changed. Nothing really changed means I will have an issue 15 years ago. 15 years later, it's exactly the same issue. It's still fight over exactly the same topic, still argue over exactly the same thing. If I choose to endure something, or I choose to do only one way and one way only, that means taking in, accommodate, the issue most likely only just gonna increase and get worse. It's never gonna get better, right? That's also when I start to come to a point, really, guys, don't take 15 years to find out that thing doesn't work. I'm here to tell you, if it doesn't work, you try it 2, 3, 4 times, you already know it doesn't work. Try something new, right? So just don't be like me. You got in here, you try 15 years, realize nothing really worked. So then I have to try something else, totally different, right? So because of my life, had a lot of this kind of things happening. That's when I start to realize drawing boundaries is equally important, right? And then I start exercising them. And what I'm saying is, I'm just giving you a couple examples to show you how we actually allow those people in our life to continue dragging our energy down, to pull down our level, to make ourselves a worse person than we can ever realize, but we allow them continue doing this. So instead of confronting them, instead of drawing boundary for ourselves, we continue telling ourselves, just work within ourselves and everything will be fine, right? But not knowing sometimes it will take you to simply speak out and say, hey, that's not acceptable. I don't treat you like this. So please don't treat me like that. You know what I mean? It takes you to voice it out. It takes you to stand up for yourself. It takes you to have that courage to fight for yourself just the same way you would fight for your kids, right? So this is a time I want to talk to you guys about finding balance, because if I ever want to share something, if I ever kind of give you tips or anything, I would say finding balance is really the hardest test there is, because, I would try everything throughout my psychic journey. I would try, if I don't like something, I'm neglecting it and thinking, time will heal everything. And then 10 years later, I realize the issue is still there. Or I would continue, continuously drawing the boundary, say, stay there, stay there, stay there. You know what I mean? And then, 5, 6 years later, I come back, I realize the issue is still issue. It may probably get worse. So this is a time I start to exercise. How can I, still welcome you into my life, but show you what you can do and what you cannot do. You know what I mean? But how can I do that? How can I do that? Because if I would not know how to do that if I don't know who I am, or I don't know what I want to be. So basically, what I try to bring you back is, eventually you'll realize life is not about one or the another. It's not about this only and this only, or just totally ignore it, or continuous kicking all the negative people out of my life. My life don't accept any negativity at all. It will be only positive and positive. Eventually you realize you only embrace one thing and one thing only, you will throw yourself out of balance. Life is about balance. How much you can take, how much you cannot take. But it all based on one big umbrella. One foundation is you have to always figure out what it is that you want in life, who you are, who you want to be, and what you want to become. So in order to draw boundary, you cannot really draw any boundary until you figure yourself out, really, because otherwise your boundary will always be over the place. You always based on what other people tell you, not so much about who you truly want to be. That's why you would realize that I spend a lot of time try to help you guys understand who it is that you are and what it is you want to become, right? So what I'm saying is, 2 simple rules. As a soul, we have a foundation of being respect. As long as you know you are respectful being, I show everybody and anybody respect, the basic humanity respect, right? Under this respect, I decide who I want to be. And that who I want to be is not so much just how your appearance gonna look like, how you're gonna talk, how you're gonna dress. It's very much about what you stand for, what you believe, right? And what kind of language will present who you are, right? Because if you're gonna go outside, start calling people names, start, swearing all around, expect people gonna throw that back at you, because that's simply how energy goes, right? But if you want people to show you respect, then speak as a respectful person. Show other people respect too. Eventually you will see you are slowly training people how to respect you. So when people start to bully you like this, mentally, physically, really guys, if you guys know who you are clearly, you are able to say, look, that's not acceptable. You might be able to do it to someone else. They are someone nicer than me, but don't ever do that to me. You know what I mean? So it does take exercise, but it take a big foundation is I know who I am and I know what I want to become. And therefore, I know what I can take and what I cannot take. So because of that, then I have something to help me or guide me to find out what that balance is going to be, right? To understand what kind of friend I want to keep in my life and what kind of friend I simply had to let go. You know what I mean? Or how much I want to keep them in my life and how much of them I have to choose to let go. Eventually you will realize it's kind of, it's almost like baking, right? Everybody got different taste. But eventually, you will find out which recipe works for you the best, because nobody knows your taste but more than you do, right? Nobody knows who you want to become more than you do. But all I'm saying is it all takes exercise. But instead of choosing one way or the other, which I believe a lot of people in my generation tend to do so, I think it's about the time we find out the best mixture for ourselves. We understand what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. And then when we understand we're dealing with some situation, some behavior that's simply not acceptable, we will then train ourselves to have that courage to speak up for ourselves and say, look, I don't care how old you are. You may be 3, maybe 5, or you may be 50. That behavior is not acceptable to me, right? It may be acceptable to anybody else. That's their business. But if you want to continuously having relationship with me, that I do not accept, because I don't show you disrespect. Therefore, I expect the same respect back from you. And that, I think, I believe, would be your first step of finding your balance and slowly help you to build a community that you will be happy to be yourself. So anyway, just a little sharing with you guys. And again, if you like my broadcast, you can always join me live, or go to subscribe my YouTube, or go to my website ruowen.com. Till then, I see you guys tomorrow. Bye.